Hello, everybody. How's it going? Welcome. And if you're here watching this on the rewind, thank you so much. This right here is a new show that I'm kind of launching. It's kind of like a sit down Saturday where we're actually going to take people in the community, people that maybe haven't had an opportunity to get to know. Maybe you've seen them, obviously the unboxings, maybe once in a while on a live stream, but you've never really had an opportunity to talk about them or understand what drives their passions. So this young lady is very enthusiastic. She loves her Pokemon, her wine unboxings, her cats, her sports, and just overall has impacted the community ever since she came onto the scene. So I wanted to spend a little time getting to know her. So ladies and gentlemen, I would love for you guys to welcome Steph Nerdy Noob. And so let me go ahead and give you her introduction. Steph, how are you, Steph?
I'm good, Eric. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it is, like I said, it's a pleasure to be able to bring you on to kick this whole thing off. Just watching your videos, an inspiration. Obviously, you started, like everybody else. You started, you're like, okay, I'm going to do YouTube. I'm going to decide to just branch out. And then next thing you know, you're climbing and climbing, and you're on the road to 100K. I mean, you're sitting at like, I believe 68.8 last time I checked. And I mean, when you sit back and look at that, you're like, wow, but you do some amazing things, obviously your unboxings, the way that you do your streams lately. You've been doing a lot of streams, which is really nice because, like I said, I was able to catch one of your streams. It was like till like 2 a.m, and so it was a lot of fun to actually get to know other people that come in to the streams as well. So I wanted to kind of go through and just kind of ask you some questions, and I appreciate you being here. But I do want to recognize people in the chat. So Scooby-Doo fan, how are you? Sassy Cajun, hello. McDorks, Dead Zone, how's it going? So I do have a lot of questions, and I really appreciate it once again for kicking off. So what I wanted to ask you, is you recently sold on Whatnot Auctions. And I'd like to know, like, what I seen on your Instagram, like some of your boxes that you're shipping away. What was that experience like, on Whatnot? Like, did you feel, for the most part, like, was it expected what you went into it, and once it started happening, you're like, oh, I got this, no problem, or were you a little overwhelmed?
I was really excited to do it. I think one of the things, throughout the 5 years that I've had my channel, I've done a lot of live streams, and I love live streaming because it's a way to be able to interact with people live and instead of just filming with a camera like I normally do. And so I was excited because I've been trying to sell things. I have collected a lot of things over the years, and I've been trying to sell things, and it's taken me, again, like 5 years to finally do it. And the auction just seemed like an awesome way for me to sell things, but also get to interact with people. And so I was excited for it. I will be honest, like, I was so excited that when I was adding items, they had told me, like, if you have around this many items, it's going to take this amount of time. I was like, oh, I'm going to kill this. I'm going to kill this in an hour. And as we got closer to the auction, I was adding more and more. And I don't know if I think you were at the auction, weren't you?
I was driving, so I was kind of in and out. I came
Okay.
a little bit. So
Yeah, it
I was
ended
looking
up
for
being
things
like
to buy.
4 hours long, but it was so much fun. I had a blast. I had my friend Amy with me, which made it even better. And we were able to obviously sell everything. And it was just nice to be able to interact with people, but also it was like interacting, but also getting a goal, like hitting a goal that I've been trying to do for years, which was selling stuff. And then the shipping, I'll be honest, the shipping, which, if anybody knows me, shipping has always been like that one thing. That's the reason I've never sold anything, is because I've been really uncomfortable with the shipping portion of it. That was definitely challenging, and not challenging because of the process. Like I'm starting to understand how to ship things now, which is great. But like the packing of everything, it took me like 10 to 12 hours to pack. I think I packed
Oh,
over
wow.
65 boxes. And I probably overpacked things for anyone who bought anything in the auction. Like I was like triple bubble wrapping things. So I want to make sure that everything got to everybody safe and sound. So I'm still practicing that. But yeah, that was definitely an exhausting process, but it was so worth it. It was cool to see the people that purchased things, a lot of people who have followed me for years. And so I got to write notes to them, and it was just fun. It was really great.
Good. Yeah, I definitely I love the way Whatnot has been going with, just seeing different people in there, the opportunity to buy some things that you might not get elsewhere, but you trust, you're trusting the sellers, so it makes it easier to purchase as well. It gives you an opportunity to put a dent in some of your pops. Hopefully, you were able to. You look around, you're like, did I sell anything? Because it looks like I still have quite a bit. I know as when you collect, I mean, it totally can just catch up on you, and you're just like, wow, like I look how much I have. So I wanted to ask you, with collecting this year, it's been challenging for us, whether it's with cons or online, the way the drops, have come through. When you're looking to buy stuff, how have you adjusted or adapted to, with the way society has presented us as collectors to purchase stuff?
Weirdly, this year wasn't that different for me. I would say probably a couple years ago, I went from being somebody who went to the stores in person all the time to try to find things to kind of going more online and trying to just be ready for all the drops on all of the stores' websites. I've just found that it's easier for me and way less stressful. There was a point in time where waiting in line, like getting up early and waiting outside of a Target or a Hot Topic, and either getting lucky or not getting lucky, like it got really stressful. It actually made collecting really hard for me, where I wasn't having as much fun because I was stressed out. So then I kind of jumped more to the online thing, and that was going well. And then the same thing happened, of course, because then everything started dropping online, all the cons. On a con release, you have like 10 stores dropping all at the same time. And I'd be sitting at my laptop with my 10 tabs open trying to get everything. But yeah, I mean, I think I've definitely changed. If you, for the people that follow me, I don't know, how closely you follow me, but my kind of level of collecting has definitely changed. Pops were really, when I first started collecting Funko Pops, it was so much fun. And then, Funko just started releasing Funko Pops of everything. Everything had a Funko Pop. And of course, and I have always been the type of collector that wants to collect the whole set. I want to collect every single pop that's in the whole set. And that's how I used to always collect. I would go to a Hot Topic and just buy, 15 pops, and I'd have the whole set. And now there's like a million exclusives, and you have to go to all these different stores. And it got really stressful for me. Like to the point where I started to realize I wasn't enjoying it as much. So I kind of took a step back. Lately, for me, I've been buying a lot of mystery boxes because that's been a lot of fun for me. I love mystery boxes. I love just like that hunt and the thrill of the chase, just like
Yeah.
you don't know what you're going to get. And so for this year specifically, I had already kind of started to back off buying general Funko Pops, and kind of shifting it more towards mystery boxes. So it wasn't too bad for me, but obviously during COVID, a lot of companies took a break, so there just wasn't that many things out there. But yeah, I don't know. I found myself, it was funny, I posted a video probably a month ago that was like, I'm gonna kind of take a step back from collecting Funko Pops. And the very next day I was in line at Target. I was trying to get those the artist series Batman, because I was like, I really like that. And so I was literally waiting in line, and I hadn't done that in a really long time. So it was really interesting to kind of go back into that. And yeah, I don't
Didn't
know.
you didn't you run into like some kind of an issue in one of the stores when you were waiting, like some guys cut in front of you or something?
I did. Well, yeah, I was at one of the local Targets, and when I got there, there was two people in front of me, and then this other guy showed up, and he was like friends with those guys. And then when we got into the store, I've done this many times where you walk in the store, we're all walking fast, but we're kind of staying in this line, and then there's another guy who kind of tried to cut across the store, and then there was just some things that had happened even when we got to the electronics section, because they weren't ready for us at all. They had nothing. They had nothing even set up. He had to go back and get all the boxes, and so the guys in front of me were help. What I thought they were helping him, and realized that at some point I think that they were actually stealing Funko Pops, which is I mean I told the guy at the store, and he's like, yeah, probably. So that was also one of those things where like, oh, that's a bummer. Like that sucks that things like that happen.
Yeah, and I know when Hot Topic had their release, I was outside in line, and they were giving out 5 per person.
Mhm.
And same thing, somebody walked in late, but right with the person that was ahead of me. And that's like, by the time you get to go in, pops are already gone because they're allowing 5 per person. And it's like, this is ridiculous. We get up early, we get here, and then we still don't have the opportunity to get it. But obviously, with cons, if society today was allowing us to go to cons, we would have to get them there anyway. So we do have the opportunity to purchase some things, whether it's a Funko lottery, which I wanted to ask you. We obviously have the election is in full swing. So I wanted to ask you, if you were the president of Funko, okay, you were in charge of Funko, would you do anything differently? Like, things that now, like, is there something that you would add differently with Funko?
You know, honestly, I mean, this happens with anything really. It just, I think Funko has gotten so big. I'm almost like scared that's going to turn into like a Ty Beanie Baby thing where it just kind of like it's there's just too much on the market. I have been saying this for years as they've been expanding, where they literally make a Funko Pop for everything, that they should probably take it easy a little bit and slow it down, because I just think that they're overinflating the market. And then the like, what used to be a chase pop used to be like the thing to get, right? And now chase pops, sometimes they are, it just depends, it really just depends on what it, but for the most part it's like not as, they're not as cool, not the new chases. But now everyone wants, the 15, the limited edition 1500 piece. And which I'll be honest, like I like those things because I like that they're limited. I like that it's not like I'm just gonna throw out 10,000 on a Funko website at 11 a.m. on Wednesday and see everything sell out. Um, I don't know. I just think that I almost sometimes I just think they're doing too much, and they just need to kind of slow it down and take a step back. But I also am not a business person whatsoever. So obviously it's a business, and, I understand that. And so, it'll keep the people. I mean, I would assume when they started expanding their lines, it's like, well, they must be getting, by doing so, you're getting more people in because you're hopefully kind of reaching a different demographic. But yeah, I don't know. I just think there's just like too many. I hate going to stores now and seeing Funko Pops on clearance shelves. That's
Yeah.
like, that hurts my heart. Like when they're like $3, when when you have a pop that you bought for $15 or $10 at the store, now it's worth three to $5. It's like, oh, that sucks. Not that it's about value, but I feel like when I first started collecting Funko Pops, it was, I don't know, there just wasn't that much out there. Like people wanted them, and it was kind of a fun thing to hunt things. And now there's just like they're everywhere, and like I said, there's a lot of things that people don't want, and it just kind of sucks to see that.
Well, yeah, you walk into like Walmart. I walked into Walmart recently, and there was like, an anime pop, all on the shelf. It's like I'm not a huge anime person, but like when you walk in there and the whole shelf is completely anime of the same pop, it's like, wow, like, like really, like, like it's not like tons of people are going to come in here and just eat up that one pop. And it wasn't a chase or anything like that. And it takes away from some of the pops that you're looking for or hoping to get. I have lucked out going into Walmart, getting a Kevin Nash chase, which was, I haven't found too many chases in a while, but it's a lot of fun when you do. So I noticed that you did grow up in the Bay Area.
Hmm.
And myself, I'm also from the Bay Area, San Jose. Have you always been in the Bay Area, or is there other places that influenced your growing up?
No, I have spent. I mean, I've lived in a few different cities in the Bay Area throughout my life, but basically I've was born and raised in the East Bay, and that's where I've been um, my whole life. I grew up out here and then went to college out here, and yeah, I haven't really left the East
Okay.
Bay actually.
So I do notice you're a Giants fan as well. So I was, you know,
Yeah.
I saw that. I'm a little bit on the older side, but I was actually at the World Series between the A's and the Giants at the Earthquake when I was younger. My aunt had taken me, and so I always remember that. And you know, it's a lot of fun to see the Giants, you know, be able to win the World Series and just represent the Bay Area. So I definitely I miss it. I miss living there, but it was sometimes it got so expensive. And
Yeah.
but I'm in Tahoe, so I still get an opportunity to go back from time to time and visit some of the places. Now I noticed in some of your videos you have quite a large amount of cats, three of them, correct?
I do. I used to only have one cat, or I guess when I first started my channel, I had two cats. One was my sister's for the most part, and one was mine. And then when I moved to my own house, I just had Mac. But I did recently, probably in April or May, I got two kittens. So now I'm at three cats. And they're one's actually like sleeping on the table right here in front of me. And yeah, they've been fun. And Mac used to be in all of my videos.
So
Yeah,
what?
there's Mac. Oh, that's a terrible picture. He's embarrassed. Mac used to
Yeah.
be in like all of my videos. He used to, when I used to film on my bed, he used to just be in the background, just chilling. And ever since I got to this new house, he's not in too many of my. There's just nowhere for him to really chill. Whoa! But my new cat Cube, he likes to be with me, and he literally likes to just. Yeah, let me just show you. Sorry. He's literally just like he likes to just find a place wherever I'm filming, and he just lays down, plops himself down here.
Don't you just love it how like it's in the morning, you're about ready to get up, and then all of a sudden they come and lay right on your chest, and they're like, "No, it's not time to get up yet," or they start kneading,
Yeah.
purring and kneading, and you're just like, "Okay, I have to get up. I know you're comfortable and you want to hang out, but like I got to get up and go to work." You know, but definitely I've always grown up as a pet, you know, lover as well. I don't think my home would ever not have a pet. So, you know, we have a little dog and a cat, and they get around, pretty much they run around playing with each other. But the funny thing is my cat is like a dog where I'll throw a toy and he'll run and get it and bring it back and then drop it and want me to throw it again. And it's like, you know, and it gets a little tiring sometimes because he'll just drop it. I'll be on my laptop and he'll just drop it right there. And I'm like, okay, you really want to play? Um, so, I mean, obviously, like I have seen, you know, your pets, you know, quite a bit in the videos. Um, Now, I wanted to ask you. So, back in May, you created a scorpion farm in Animal Crossing. Um, you got stung a bit when you were trying Animal Crossing, and pretty much you were, you know, I watched you were running around, you know, trying to catch the scorpions and everything. So, how has your Animal Crossing play progressed?
You know, I have always thought of myself of having an addictive personality, and I played Animal Crossing for when I first got it for like it was like 3 weeks straight, and like hours every day. And that was, I mean, I was staying up until like 2 or 3 in the morning just playing Animal Crossing, trying to make scorpion farms and tarantula farms. And but then I realized with my job and then YouTube that every time something like this happened, like this happened to me, the exact same thing with Pokemon Go. When Pokemon Go first came out, I mean, it was like 2 weeks straight of like 8 hours a day of me walking around somewhere trying to catch Pokemon, but not doing any of the other things that I actually have to do in my life. And so I'll be honest, my Animal Crossing thing, it's definitely fluctuated. I have not played. I honestly haven't played it for probably a month and a half. When I do start playing it, it just sucks. I fall into this like trap for like a week where I play it every single day for hours. So Animal Crossing right now is on hold. I got my goddaughter Audrey into Animal Crossing though, so she plays all the time, and I love getting to talk to her about it, and she tells me everything that she's doing. So I kind of right now I'm living through her because I know if I pick up my Switch and start playing, I'm just gonna get super addicted to it, and I'll just sit there and play it for hours.
So so I read, so you are a godmother.
Hmm.
So what I wanted to ask you, you had some creative ideas for Halloween and I believe Jackson's birthday party. Um, so has being a collector helped you tap into your creative side, or has the experience of now being a godmother opened that creativity up? I mean, do you enjoy? I mean, you obviously seem to enjoy that mother instinct of like, okay, I want to be creative and obviously making a lot of cool stuff. Because for Halloween, I did see that you made that table. You had for I don't know how many kids you ended up having come through, but it was a really good idea.
Yeah, I would say neither. I've actually been this way my whole life. Like I was always the neighborhood kid that I was always older. I was a little bit older than everyone else, and I would put on like talent shows and carnivals. Like I found at my parents' house, I found this like drawing. It was like a layout of a carnival that I had made, and there was like a flyer that I had made, and I ran some kind of penny carnival, and there was all these games that I had designed and like literally wrote all the rules for and everything. So I went to summer camp as a kid, and just kind of working with kids and being able to come up with the games, like that's always been a huge part of my life. And then when I grew up and found out that I could actually get a job doing that, and that's the field that I'm in, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And so now I'm able to kind of make those creative ideas. Like what I did for Halloween, I mean, in my job, we used to have this. I mean, I've moved up in the world with my job, but when I was a coordinator at a community center, we would have these like Halloween events, and it was like my dream because I just got to create a giant carnival thing for 80 plus kids with a prize booth. Prize tables has always, like, that's my thing. Like it's always been my favorite thing. I love the arcades. I love arcades. And so coming up with carnival games where kids can win tickets and having raffles, like that's always just been something that I love to do. And so it's I think collecting has helped me because it gives me cooler things to give out. My prize, you could tell when I started doing this YouTube channel, that at work my prize tables and my prize booths ended up being cooler and cooler and cooler because I started having Funko Pops for raffle prizes instead of just like the normal little toys that you get. And then same thing with my god kids. It's really neat to be able to, I mean, at any point, that's why their parents always have me help them make goodie bags, because I can literally just kind of scrounge up in this room and find enough things to make goodie bags. Usually I always buy extra things though because I want them to be really good. But I've always loved working with kids, and I'm a big kid at heart, and so it just works out that way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wouldn't say that having god kids or being a collector has made me this. I just think that this is how I've always actually been a collector. I mean, obviously it's like really extreme now as an adult, but I mean I've been the same way as a kid as to to the level that I could be, with pogs and Pokemon cards. And me and my dad used to hunt Beanie Babies. Like we have like 10,000 plus Beanie Baby. We were in the Beanie Baby craze, and we used to go get up at 5 in the morning on Saturdays and line up at a bird. It was like a bird store, Wild Birds Unlimited, and it was like my dad would hand me cash, and he'd be like, okay, and so he would go in line and get the special edition Princess Diana bear, and then I would have my and I would do it because it was two per person or whatever, and then we'd go home and we put them in the little plastic acrylic cases that we had for them, and we had this whole spreadsheet. So it's like this has always been, I think collecting has been a part of my life for a really really long time. It's just now me as an adult doing it, which is good and bad. Depends how you look at it.
No, it's funny you say how your dad gave you cash because just recently with the Batman, the artist Batman's, I went into Target and I took my boys and my oldest, I gave him one of my cards and I'm like, okay, you're gonna go and here's the pin. And he's never really used a debit card before, but so it was funny. It was a great experience. But when you said that, I was like, that's exactly what I was doing. Was like, okay, you're gonna get cash and you're going to get a card and we're going to get 3 sets and this is what we're going to do. So definitely. Now obviously being creative, you also have a side to you that's kind of like daring. I know back in February, you and Maverick, you did a one chip challenge. And Maverick seemed to struggle a little bit, but you chipped away at it. You were doing really well. You handled it. You know, how did that go? I mean, what did you think about that? Is there any other challenges on the horizon that you want to do or that you've thought about doing?
You know, the challenges have always just been really sporadic on my channel. We did the one, I'm going to say it was a half of a one chip challenge because we split one chip. And that was something that actually he really wanted to do. He was the one who bought the chip and everything. And he was like, oh, I really want to do this. And so, we came up with the idea to do it we wanted to get it on film, of course. And I've done like random, I don't know if you saw the Bean Boozled challenge that I did with my friend T. Uh,
We
that one was
we did that
interesting.
one too. We did a Bean Boozled one.
Yeah. It's always fun. I love doing challenges when I'm able to get my friends to come over. It's harder now. I mean, I when I first started YouTube, I lived in a house with my friend T. T's a huge she's very popular on my channel. We've now moved apart where we're not as close, so it's a little bit more challenging. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I The challenges are just kind of, obviously I watch a lot of YouTube. Um I'm on YouTube all the time, and so as when challenges come up, if there's something that really interests me, then I kind of like, oh, I want to kind of do that or find somebody to do it. But I wouldn't say that I have anything on the horizon. Those are just kind of the sporadic things that come up. I'm like, that's cool. I want to try that.
Well, speaking of T, I watched a video that you did in 2015. It was in December. You guys did the Loot Crate, the Star Wars limited edition. Um, and it was also your wine edition that you did as well. And you did it with T, and basically you were asking about if she watched a certain video, and she was going to have a voice cameo, but she didn't. But she didn't watch, and so like you guys were kind of like with that back and forth. That you can tell you really enjoyed bringing other people into your videos and the way that you interact. So my question I have is like, you love the interaction and the comedy side of the video. Like I enjoyed it. You seem to feel pretty comfy with the camera and the confidence. Now, has that been something you've always been able to do, or is it just from putting out videos after videos? Like, I mean, have you always welcomed the camera?
Um, I guess yes and no. To be honest, I was always that kid with, well, I used to have like my old school 35 millimeter cameras. And then when digital cameras came out, I mean, I was always the one kid that carried around a camera and took pictures all the time. And then I remember I got my first camcorder and I used to film not videos like how I do now, but just like people and things. So I've always enjoyed technology and electronics and whatnot. I wouldn't say I've always been comfortable on camera. I'm very personable, so I actually it's weird. I like being around people, and then sometimes I don't like being around people. But when I'm around people, I'm usually like, it's fun, especially people that are my friends, like with T and Amy and everybody. But I don't know if you saw my very first video. I mean, when I first started doing YouTube, it was like the weirdest thing I had ever done. It was like weird to sit. I don't know if anyone else in this room has done it, but when you literally like you're sitting by yourself in a room talking to a camera and like talking to people who aren't there, basically.
Yeah.
So when I first started, and then because I live with people and they didn't really know that I was going to be doing that, I didn't want them to know because I was like kind of embarrassed. So I was like, hey guys, I was like whispering. And then it just became a thing where once people started following me, I was like, oh, people actually like watching. And I get to talk to people in the comment section once I post my video. And so I definitely think my ability to be in front of a camera and just be comfortable with it is from YouTube specifically. Like now, it's I think it's helped my public speaking. I've always had a mindset with public speaking or just being in front of people where it's like I get really, really nervous and I like freak out inside. And then I hit this point where I'm like, well, whatever happens, happens. Like there's nothing that you can do about it. If you mess it up, you mess it up. It doesn't matter. And so once I usually hit that point, it's like, okay, I don't care anymore. And then I can move on. But yeah, it definitely has helped me be more comfortable in front of people and talking in front of people because I mean, I'm doing it, all the time.
So we do have a question. Umpty Scratch said, "Do you still have and ride the longboard?"
Yeah, I love riding longboards. Now, I don't ride them as much as I would like. So when I first started riding longboards, it was right after I got into snowboarding. So I got into snowboarding. I loved it. And I go to Tahoe. I was going to Tahoe all the time. I mean, I was taking like 15 plus trips a season. And the way that this is the same thing. Like I went up I had never been snowboarding, and this was not even that long ago. I had never been snowboarding. It was probably like, actually, maybe now it's been long ago, maybe like 8 or 9 years ago. And my friends were like, "Do you want to go snowboarding?" I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. I've never gone snowboarding. Like, no, it'd be fine. I'm like, well, I don't have anything. And they're like, oh, you can borrow some of our stuff or you can rent a board. And I was like, okay. And literally the night before we went, I was like, oh, and I went to any mountain. I don't even think they're around anymore. And I bought everything. I bought myself a snowboard. I bought myself all the gear. We went up and I was like, God, I hope I like this, because I literally just spent hundreds of dollars buying all this stuff and I loved it. And that season, I ended up going up like 10 times, learned how to snowboard, absolutely loved it. And then after the season ended, I was like, what? Now what do I do? And that's when I got into longboarding, because it was almost like snowboarding, but not quite. I actually tried to get into skateboarding, and that was really bad. I was a terrible skateboarder, but longboarding, just cruising around, was super fun to me. So, of course, I ended up 2 years later, I had like 8 snowboards and like 5 longboards. And now I have my boosted board, which is what I probably ride the most in regards to longboarding, which is my electric longboard. I was actually looking at potentially getting a new one, but now that it's wintertime, I'll probably hold off, because obviously with the weather, I don't usually longboard in the rain. I want to get an electric scooter though. Those look fun.
Oh yeah, yeah, they do. Yeah, my youngest, he actually won a season pass for skiing. So he's like, Dad, you need to go with me. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what, like he wants to try snowboarding too. And I'm like, man, the last time I went skiing or any of that, like I'm probably gonna end up in the hospital if I do that, you know. But I'm trying to get his older brother to do it a little bit more with him, but so I can kind of escape.
Yeah.
But you know, definitely they love it, you know, especially here in Tahoe when we do get the snow. So I noticed recently you've been doing a lot of videos with the Pokemon.
Mhm.
And obviously Pokemon is really, really big right now. You know, who is your favorite Pokemon character?
I mean, Pikachu has always been my favorite ever since I started collecting, and it's been what, over 20 years now. Pikachu is definitely my favorite. In regards to cards, Charizard's always my favorite, because I remember buying my first booster pack being, it was a Japanese booster pack, because the English cards hadn't come out yet. I remember they told me like, oh, if you get this he's a dragon. His name's Charizard, and if you get him, he's the best. And I remember that was the first holo card I ever pulled out of a booster pack. And so that card, it's like I have my binder that I've had literally since the 90s. And so I think that's just really nostalgic for me. Of course, I like the base set Pokemon. I like Charmander. I think he's fun. I used to watch the cartoons, and I also liked the movies and everything. So I would probably say that. And then there's like some random ones. Like I always really enjoyed Snorlax. Card wise, I liked him. I thought he was cute. And then Togepi. I like Togepi in the TV shows actually.
So if you're starting out, like, you know, okay, like I want to do Pokemon, you know what I mean? Like, what do I do? What do I look for? You walk in the store and it's like, wow, you know, it's like going in a candy store. Which candy do you pick? You know, I mean, there's so many choices, you know, and obviously, you know, with Pikachu, and you know, you got your Charmander, and you know, you got your little Eevee. I mean, it's a lot of fun to get wrapped into. And we did the Pokemon Go too as well with the boys. And they did have Pokemon cards, but now they want to get back into it a little bit. And I see a lot of people are doing it, but I mean, you know, it does become pricey. You know, unless you go to, like you said, Costco, you get those, you know, the tins that you picked up. What do you look for when you go into the stores?
Well, for me, Pokemon cards has always been, it's definitely changed a little bit, but you know, the thrill for me is it's almost like getting a Funko Pop mystery box and getting that one Grail pull, or being able to get a chase. It's like you want to open that pack and get that really cool special. Usually, it used to be like the holo card, but now holo cards are boring, and they have GX and VMAX and full arts and secret rares and amazing rares, and they have all these things. Um, in it's hard. It's hard to say. It depends on what it is you're looking for. Like, I mean, I like booster packs because booster packs are fun. And again, a booster pack is like a mystery box where I get to open it and see if I got a good card. Um, they have a bunch of collection boxes. I really think honestly, when it comes to like collecting Pokemon cards, it's just like whatever you like. If you're talking about what sets to look for, because like right now we're in Sword and Shield, and you know, Sword and Shield base is cool. No one wants Rebel Clash. Darkness Ablaze just blew up now. It's starting to blow up now. It's actually harder to get. And then they have Champions Path, of course, that just came out. But I think especially when you're just starting out, it's just seeing a booster pack that you like that looks fun and getting it and seeing what you got. And then I mean right now honestly you don't walk into stores and see a lot of stuff because actually everything's sold out. Like I went to two Targets yesterday and GameStops, and there was just, they have no booster packs. They do have some collection boxes, but everything is just sold out right now because Pokemon's, of course, it's blown up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just think it really depends on what you're looking for. One of the things, of course, I probably shouldn't have decided to do this is, so I am really into Champions Path right now, which is hard to get because it's like Hidden Fates where they don't sell just loose booster packs from that set. You have to get them either in an Elite Trainer box or a collection box, and so they're harder to find and they're selling out everywhere. The only time I've ever been able to buy it recently is just like on eBay. I have to like pay way more money, but of course there's Charizards that you can get that everyone's getting, and I want to get those, of course. I hope one day I pull them. But I made a new goal where I'm actually trying to collect like the whole set, which I've never done. I actually have never done this even as a child. I've never tried to collect a whole set of cards. And so I have my little checklist now, and I put all of the cards in order, in numbered order, and I have the regular card and the reverse holo cards, and I'm trying to get this whole Champions Path set, which probably again wasn't the best set for me to try to get because it's hard to get booster packs, and the Charizards are I'm probably never going to get the Charizards, so I probably will never complete this whole set, but it makes it fun for me. Like instead of just hunting for Charizards, I actually am like, oh, that's a, you know, that's a V card that I didn't get before, and it makes it, you know, it makes it fun. So it's like an extra challenge
Do
that I
you
have now.
find it, well, do you find it recently, like instead of like mystery boxes, more of an adrenaline rush going after the Pokemon stuff than the mystery boxes right
Yes.
now?
Oh, 100%. I think again, Funko Pops, I mean, if you've seen my journey through Funko Pops, like I was collecting Funko Pops a long time ago where I just like kind of bought them when I saw them. And I was like, oh, I really like these. And then I started getting Funko Pops in subscription boxes. And that's actually what started my YouTube channel, of course. I'd get excited when I got a Funko Pop. And then I started actually just going to the store buying Funko Pops. And then mystery boxes came about, and I started buying a lot of mystery boxes. And I would say then what started or what made me kind of like stop was honestly, like if I took you on a tour of my house, there's Funko Pops everywhere. I mean, these are the Funko Pops that I personally want to keep for my collection. And then I have full shelves of Funko Pops over there of ones that I don't want. There's a bunch on this table right here. They're on the staircase. They're literally everywhere. And I was like, oh my God, this is taking over my life. And so I made the decision to not stop collecting Funko Pops, but to be a lot more selective about what I was collecting. Because I think at one point it shifted where I don't even know what I was collecting. I don't, you know, when I first started, it was like I collected all the Harry Potter pops. Like that's what Harry Potter and Force Awakens Star Wars. Those were like the two sets that I was so focused on when I first started collecting Funko Pops. And then it just became like, oh, I want to get that one that's limited to 1,500 because it's limited and I want to get it. And then just realized that sometimes I think I started to become, it was just a different type of collector. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is not really what I want to be doing. And even though it gets the most views on my channel, let's be honest, like my channel started with subscription boxes and then Funko Pops. I wouldn't say that I'm a Funko Pop channel, but obviously it kind of turned into that a little bit. And I was getting a lot of views and it was great, but I wasn't necessarily enjoying what I was doing as much. And I've always been into Pokemon cards. You know, it's something that I did when I was a 9-10-year-old kid. And so I've always been into Pokemon cards. And I've posted Pokemon videos throughout the years and they never get any views. So I'm like, oh, nobody wants to watch the Pokemon video. So I just wouldn't post them. Like I'd still open packs. I just wouldn't post any videos of me doing it. But that's what I like to do, especially right now. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do what I want to do. So I still open up mystery boxes because I still like mystery boxes. I just try to be careful about how many I buy. And then there's Pokemon cards. So it's interesting. And Pokemon cards don't, in theory, take up as much space as Funko Pops. In theory.
In theory.
In theory, yeah. In theory.
I don't know. So, you know, your YouTube channel, I mean, obviously, you know, when people recently in the community, we've had a lot of people that had hit their first 1K. Like, you know, Christina Payne is in here, super moderator. She recently hit 1K. You have Geeky Mama Bear that has recently hit 1K. Mama J Inspector. There's a lot of channels that have gotten to that point. For you, like when you first started and you're like, okay, like this is doing really well. Like, okay, like, you know, let's go. And then you hit your first 1K. What would you give the advice to people out there that are new and that are looking to kind of build and just kind of, maybe they hit a little bit of a lull. Maybe they feel that maybe people aren't watching their channel as much, but like, you know, like, what would you say to some of these people that are, you know, kind of climbing and working on their 1K and beyond?
Well, surprisingly, I can actually say that I can relate because, well, obviously I went through this, but even right now with where my channel is, you know, you said I have 68,800. I think I've been sitting at that number for like, honestly, probably like 3 or 4 months. I have not moved. My channel's been very stagnant. And I remember when I had 20 subscribers. I remember when I hit 100. I remember all this. I used to do, I actually should probably start again, but I used to do milestone videos on my channel and I was doing giveaways and everything. But I always go back to this, and this is what I had to do when I reset myself recently was if you are trying to have a YouTube channel because you want it to blow up and you want to either make a lot of money or just have a lot of people watching you, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Like I made the YouTube channel. My YouTube channel started because I had signed up for like 10 or 15 subscription boxes within a week. And I remember everybody was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you going to do with all these? And I was like, oh, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. That's, you know, that's why I did it, which is not why I did it. It was, I love getting mysteries. I love getting packages in the mail of things that I don't know what it is. Like that is my dream. And so when I found out about subscription box, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And so I used the YouTube channel actually as an excuse for why I did that. And I started doing it and, you know, I started enjoying filming, and it was cool to show people what was in the boxes because that's what I was watching other people on YouTube going, oh, I like that. I want to try that company out. That's a cool box. And, you know, it has always been though that I always told myself that I would only film if I wanted to film. Like if I felt like if something that I enjoyed doing. So there's been a few times, especially in the past probably 2 or 3 years where I've taken breaks because it was like, okay, it's either stressing me out where I don't want to do it anymore, or, you know, life gets busy. And again, this is just a hobby of mine. But I always just tell people, film what you want to film. If you truly enjoy what you're doing, and people could actually tell, because at some point I was filming things and people were like, you don't seem like you're enjoying what you're doing. And they were right, because sometimes I was filming things because I felt like I had to film them. Like I was obligated to, it was subscription. I was like, I felt obligated to continue filming subscription boxes, even though they were dying out and I wasn't having as much fun with them. I was having more fun with Funko Pops at the time, but I was still trying to do these subscription boxes. And I would get them in and I just have piles of subscription boxes. I wasn't excited to open them. And then when I filmed them, everyone kind of felt like I was just like, oh, I'm filming this because I have to film it. Yeah. And, you know, I started seeing those comments and I felt that. And so I think what I would tell anybody is, one, make sure you're enjoying what you're doing. Don't film to become rich and famous, because if you really look at the percentage of people that become, like, I always wanted to be like one of those big YouTubers, like, what is the chance of that actually happening? It's not very, like, there's not, if you really look at the percentages, it's not that high. So just kind of do what you want to do. I love interacting. That's one of the things too. If you guys are trying to grow your channel, I think the number one thing that made my channel grow was being able to interact with the people watching my channel. So not just throwing out videos and then that's it, but actually reading the comments. For a really long time on my channel, it was a requirement in my mind that I had to respond back to every single person that commented on my videos, even if they were mean, like even if they said something mean to me, they're like, oh, that's okay, thank you for watching or whatever. And I respond back to every single one. And then as my channel got bigger, that obviously became impossible. I was getting too many comments and I couldn't keep up with it. But even now, going back to it, I try to look, I read every comment and I now try to respond, or I'll like heart every comment that I read so that people know like I'm still here and I'm reading everything that you have to say. And I try to respond to as many people as I can. But make sure you love what you're doing. Make sure you're interacting with your viewers and then post consistently. Something that I'm not doing currently, but that was definitely one of the other things that really helped my channel grow was I was posting every single day, sometimes 2 to 3 videos a day, just depended on how much I filmed. And along with me interacting with the people, it just really helped my channel grow. I would say that's actually what happened with like Top Pops. Top Pops, I've been following that kid for years and he posts every single day. I don't even know if he's ever missed a day. I'm not really quite sure, but I wish I could do that. I wish that was, I'm assuming that that's like right now his job. I don't think he has like another job. I don't think he's going to school. I think that's his main thing. And maybe if it was my main thing, I would be able to do that. But of course I have a full-time job, so it is hard, but
Yeah.
yeah. And don't give up. I mean, it's definitely, like I said, my channel was like really slow and it's slow right now, but at least when I'm filming videos, it's stuff that I like. I want to film the videos. I get so excited to film the videos and to post them now. And I haven't necessarily felt that as much, you know, in the past few months. It's almost become like a chore, but now I'm like, oh, I can't wait to film this. I'm so excited to film this. I'm so excited to post it, and it just kind of brought that energy back.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things when I was able to watch you in some of the live streams, just to see that energy. And, a lot of times, like when people that haven't had an opportunity to come across your channel, but that you've heard nerdy noob, or, like nerdy noob mystery box, or you hear it, but then now you get an opportunity to see somebody on a stream and see how she interacts with everybody. And you just love the enthusiasm. And then you love how, like, hey, come around to my house. Let me take a tour. Here's my cat. So you show that down to earth side where it's not like, okay, I'm nerdy noob. Like you don't like nobody. You react to the people, and that's what I loved about it. Like coming in, and a lot of people will come into your stream. I think it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and you had like almost 300 people that was on there. It was like crazy. But that's what I wanted to get back to, Top Pops and Tristan, because I know he was in there that night as well. One of the positive things to take away, I think, from the 2020 with the Corona situation is like the friends that I've made in this community through the YouTube, that I've had an opportunity that I would not even know, like from the East Coast, Midwest, just people that I've been able to interact with and have that rapport. So you have interacted with Tristan. How has this journey been for you on YouTube since you started? Like, have you been able to do collaborations and get out and meet people? I know you posted some pictures sometimes with celebrities. How has this been for you? Like, with other YouTubers?
I'll say that's probably the one thing that I've been lacking the most in my life. I'm not really good at networking. Like even in my job, I'm not good at networking. Like once you become friends with somebody, it's easy. But like I actually have a hard time putting myself out there. So to be honest, I don't think I've done any collabs with other YouTubers. We always talk about it, and it just never ends up happening. Um, I talk to a handful of people all the time, and it's actually interesting because when my channel was smaller, there was like a small group of people that followed me, and I followed them. A lot of them aren't actually on YouTube anymore. Gosh, I that was such a long time ago, and now there's YouTubers out there that there was actually a group of us that were like communicating all the time on Instagram, and then I don't know what happened. There was like a split in that group, and it like it's crazy, like the YouTube drama actually that happens. And once I saw things like that, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna back up, and I'm just gonna keep doing my own thing. And obviously, I get excited when Tristan comes to any of my live streams, and I try to check out his live streams. It's like kind of that mutual respect thing.
Yeah.
I watch Cletus. I watch Bearded Pop Hunter. I watch Jetta. Like I watch everybody randomly, and I'm subscribed to all of them. But I wouldn't say that I just haven't gotten to that point. Maybe sometime. Like I would love to do a collab with Tristan because he actually when our channels. I mean, he obviously blew up, but for a while we were actually like growing at the same rate.
Mhm.
And a couple years ago, he blew up and just, now he's over 200,000 subscribers. And I'm so happy for him. Like, I think that's so cool, especially for him. He's a young kid. And it's cool that he was able to, like, he has like his own, like, I don't know if he's like renting his own like studio thing. I'm like, that is so cool. It's like cool that he was able to kind of turn that into his job, which is neat.
Right.
But yeah, hopefully one day. It's just hard because we all live all over. I mean, he's in Canada. And so, but maybe if one day we're able to do something like this, I would love that. It would be fun. But it's stressful because there's a lot of it's the same thing. Like, who's the oh my gosh, what are their names? I can't believe I forgot. They were the ones who I feel like I started watching first on YouTube. I know somebody in this room knows them. It's the husband and wife.
Was the
They
two peas in a pod?
No.
No.
They had they
Christina.
what? Come on, you guys. I know you guys know them. They're like famous. I think anyone who films Funko Pops on or figures or even sub boxes, they don't film as much anymore. Oh my gosh, I don't even
Yeah,
know what
because
their names are.
I think they came back on the Luau one time. They were on his show, and I'm trying to remember as well because I can see them, I can picture them. I think that's who you're talking about because they did go away for a while, and then people brought them back. Yeah. So anybody in the chat, you guys throw out some names out there from some of the YouTubers that were big and maybe have taken a break, so we can kind of jar the memory a little bit.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe. I actually got to be in a one of Jetta's live streams one time, and they were there, and I was so starstruck. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. Like, and I wanted to tell them, like, yeah, you guys were, one of the first Funko, or one of, not even Funko, it wasn't even Funko, it was subscription boxes, but you were like, they were one of the first YouTubers that
Is it,
I followed and watched all the time. Oh my gosh, I can't even
is it
believe.
Once Upon a Funko?
No,
No.
they don't even they're not even big on Funko Pops, actually. They do figures now. Hold on. I'm gonna find this out because it's gonna bother me the fact that I don't have that many. I'm not subscribed to too many channels. Hold on one second. Um, yeah, they were one of the first people that I ever started watching, and it was crazy to end up being in a live stream with them because, it was just a YouTuber that I had. It's Nerd Therapy. Oh my gosh, I can't believe
Nerd
it.
therapy.
Nerd
Okay.
Therapy. So Nerd Therapy, and they're not a Funko Pop channel. They do collect Funko Pops, but they were a subscription box channel, and they were huge. And I remember when they hit 100K, and it was so exciting. And um, I don't know. It's things like that. Like even with Tristan, it's like so cool watching his channel, explode. And, I hope one day he hits that 1 million sub. That would be so cool. Cause I don't know if there's Funko Pop channels specifically that are that big. I would say that Tristan's probably one of the biggest ones. And yeah, it's just cool to see him. And it's like weird. You would think, I feel like at some point, at least for me, because I'm very competitive, that there'd be like, oh, I'm so jealous of him. But I've just been watching him so long that I'm like, no, I wish nothing but the best for him. Like, I can't wait to watch his channel keep growing and just get bigger and bigger.
So was that okay? So somebody in the chat, Alexander Perez, has said that you were actually the reason she started collecting pops. Is there somebody that kind of helped you push that along a little bit too when you were starting out? That you're like, when you watched, you mentioned, with Nerd Therapy and everything, but is there other channels where you're just like, okay, this is awesome. Like I definitely know that I want to collect pops. Like I know that you did the prescription the boxes and stuff, but as you were climbing, were there other channels that came through that you were like, it'd be cool to actually either meet them or, just basically, I love, the fact that their content's coming through, because like I said, your journey, you're going to end up coming across a lot of people that are in the business. Some have already gone away, but some people still around. So is there anybody that stood out to you as well, besides Nerd Therapy?
Not for Funko Pops. Honestly, Funko Pops, I wouldn't say that I like followed the trend with Funko Pops, but there wasn't like Funko Pop channels. Those just recently came out. Even like, it's funny, I've said this before, but I used to subscribe to a box. It was Nerd Block. and they had something called a Vinyl Palooza box, which was basically like a Funko Pop mystery box. This is before anybody, there was no Funko Pop mystery box. Like no one did that. That wasn't even a thing. And they would sell you this box and it had 6 pops in it, and you could maybe get, you know, a Chase pop or something. And I'm like, that's such a cool idea. And before Funko Pops even blew up, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna like put Funko Pops in a box and then put like an exclusive in there and then sell the box, and then, you know, people, somebody might get that or whatever. So with Funko Pops, that's the one cool thing about Funko Pops for me. And that's why I was kind of disappointed in myself when I felt like the collector I turned into was not what I started at, because there was no like people doing Funko Pop videos back then. It was, I was getting Funko Pops in a mystery box, in a subscription box. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. Look, I got a Funko Pop. And then I started buying them at Hot Topic, and I started doing videos. And again, I was still mainly a subscription box channel, but I was so excited when I got to go to Hot Topic with my hot cash and buy a bag full of Funko Pops and show people, oh, look at the Funko Pops that I got. Isn't this cool? And so I wouldn't say there was ever a channel specifically with Funko Pops. Like now, there's so many out there. Like the way that the channels are now, where there's people who literally do like Funko Pop news channel, like they like tell you all the things that are coming out. Like I obviously follow like disc
So
pops and
yeah.
Funko finders on Instagram and Twitter and all of that, and that helps me keep up with what's going on. But yeah, I would say the Funko Pop thing specifically, it was just something that I loved. It was like gold when you got a Funko Pop in a subscription box. It was very rare. So when or back then at least, when that was happening, it'd be like, oh my God. And it wouldn't even have to be a Funko Pop that I liked. Like, wow, we got a Funko Pop in the subscription box. This is so cool. And so yeah, it just kind of grew from there.
Well, you know, since you've been growing your channel and you've been doing a lot of things and you obviously do what you want to do, there are people that have taken to you that for the most part, they're like, I want to start a channel. You know what I mean? So you've kind of created that inspiration. Like, for example, we have Geeky Mama Bear. You know, she said Nerdy New was one of the channels that made her want to start a channel. Geeky Mama Bear has just recently hit her 1K. You know, so
Congratulations. Woo!
yeah. So, you know, I mean, when you start seeing that, how do you, like, how does that make you, the impact that you're creating, you know, and it's not just with YouTubers, you know, I know that you do a lot of things in the community, you know, like you said, working with the kids, it's a great feeling to just be able to make that impact, you know. That's the way I feel when I first came across your channel, was the enthusiasm, the way that you project yourself, you know, portrays not just on the screen, I'm sure with your friends and everything. So definitely, I love seeing that, and I can only imagine the impact you make in your community.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Again, I love what I do, and I think that's the one thing, even with my channel, where again, as long as I love what I do, I feel really good about it. And it's neat to hear all the stories of people saying, oh, you made me get into collecting Funko Pops, or you helped me start my channel, or even when they just ask for advice. I think it's really cool. I think sometimes it's hard, it doesn't hit you as much. Same thing with working with kids. Honestly, I love working with kids, and I love doing fun things with them and all this stuff. And you know, I know how much of an impact the people in my lives had when I was a kid. I still remember my camp counselors. I still remember I actually had the honor of being able to reach out to, you know, a, a person who was doing what I'm doing now, but when I was a kid. And I remember like seeing her and be like, oh, she's so cool. Like, I want her job when I grow up. And then I got that job, and she was still in the field. And this was like 20 years later. And I remember sending her an email like, hey, you probably don't know me. You probably don't remember me, but I just want to tell you that you are somebody that when I was a kid, I thought you were the cool, like what you got to do and everything. And it helped, you know, put me on the path that I'm in now. And, you know, she probably was like, oh, cool, thanks. But like, and that's kind of how it is sometimes. Like you don't even realize. And I'll be honest, like sometimes that's how it is with me, with kids and with my channel. Like I'm so excited that I'm able to help, you know, inspire people to do things. It's kind of crazy. Like it's weird to think that's even the case. And I try to remember that, especially when I'm like doing things like, you know, I know that there's kids out there. My channel is barely watched by kids. It's mainly all adults my age, which is cool. But it's neat to know that there's people out there that kind of um look up to me in that way. But then at the same time, you know, for me, I'm like, oh, it's not like I'm just a person. Like I'm no different than anyone else. And I would never, that's the one thing that I'm proud of myself with. Like I would never want to sit here and be like, oh, I have 60,000 subscribers. Look at me. And I'm like cooler than ever. Like, no, I'm
Right.
literally the exact same person when I started my channel to now. It's, you know, it's been great getting this many subscribers because honestly, the ad revenue that comes in helps, you know, helps supplement all the stuff that I buy.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's cool that I'm able to do that, but at the same time, again, I just enjoy what I'm doing, and I'm glad that people like watching me. And you know, my channel fluctuates all the time with what I do on my channel. Obviously, again, I was a subscription box video channel, then it kind of turned to Funko Pops. I'm doing Pokemon, and there's a lot of people I knew. I was like scared. I was like, if I do the Pokemon videos that I actually want to do, there's gonna be people who don't watch my videos and they're gonna unsubscribe for me. And I realized like that's okay. I mean, sometimes, you know, people I fluctuated with different people that I watch on YouTube, or like I go from watching them every single day, and now it's like, you know, I'll watch them every once in a while, and that just happens. We all change and we all grow. Um, but there's actually a lot of people who stuck with me even with my Pokemon videos, because and they always say like, oh, I don't really know anything about Pokemon. I don't really care. I don't really like cards, but it's really relaxing to watch you, or it's fun to,
Well,
you know, I just like your personality. And it's like, okay, that's cool. You know,
yeah,
it's cool that it doesn't really matter what I do.
they're invested in you. I mean, that's the thing. They, you know, they came onto your channel. They're invested in you. You know, it's you gain friends as you come along. And believe it or not, I mean, I've had some really good conversations with a lot of people, and a lot of people have come through for me. I've come through for people, and I think that's what's awesome about the journey. And like you said, do what you want to do. I mean, that's why, like tonight, I decided this is something I wanted to do for a while. This
Hmm.
type of a setup, and you know, that's why, you know, we had a conversation a while back, you know, so this has been in the making. And you know, when I did write you on one of your YouTube videos and you responded back, it's kind of like, oh, she responded back, you know. But it's like you said, you know, it is about basically realizing these are people that are watching you, they're leaving comments, you know, you are interacting with them. And you'll find that you do have something in common with a lot of the people that you do come in contact with, you know, like I said, we're both from the Bay Area, you know, Giants fans, you know, we got our cats, you know, so there's a lot that you look at. So I know that you have a lot of fandoms in your backgrounds, in your boxes, everything. If you were to start over, like if you had to start from scratch, but you can only collect one fandom. Now I know you like your Pokemon and your Pokemon cards, but for your pops, is there a line that you would say, okay, you know what, this is a must. Like I need to start this over again. This would be the must.
You know, I think I'd go back to I mean, there's two lines that really started like I think my Funko Pop collecting, because everything else was like random things here and there that I liked. I probably would go with Harry Potter, to be honest. I hate how many sets they've put out now. Like it's I feel like every 6 months there's a new set, and I actually stopped buying them. I don't even collect them anymore. But I really had a good time in the beginning, like trying to get all the Harry Potter pops, and you know, I don't know. Well, actually, you know what line I really like? It's not even a line, but I love Freddie Funko. I've also really enjoyed Freddie Funko ever since I started Funko Pops. I remember going on the old Funko website before they used to do weekly drop. Like it was just like, and they had um, all of the like zodiac sign Freddies, and they
Mhm.
had the Freddy Funko Club, which I got, and the football Freddy, and like they had all these old like just Freddy pops, and nobody wanted them, right? So like they were always there, and I bought most of them. I didn't get any of the Zodiac ones because like, oh, those will always be there for me to buy, and of course now they're not. Um, and I've loved watching. I like things that are mixed. That's why the Freddy Funko Pops to me are so cool. Like this one, which is one of my favorite Freddys. I love when things are like mashed up. So it's a Freddy Funko Pop, but he's C3PO. Like to me, I'm like, that's so
Yeah.
cool. And so, you know, I've always had a fascination with Freddy Funko being the Funko mascot. But you know, I think I still would have to go back to Harry Potter. It's what started it all. Harry Potter and the Force Awakens set was that's just really what started like my collecting of Funko Pop. So I
Okay.
don't know. It's hard. There's so many now. It's difficult to keep up with.
Well, so what is the one thing that's your favorite thing about doing your YouTube channel? What's your least favorite? What's your favorite? I mean, now that you've been doing this for so long, um, and obviously, you're used to certain things such as the cat popping up, or, there's a lot that you feel comfortable with, but like your YouTube channel is you now. Like, I mean, you've made it into your own from when you first started. What do you enjoy most about doing it, and what do you enjoy least?
Most will always be, I mean, of course, I like filming and I like getting to open things, but I get so excited. I get so excited after I've edited a video and it's processing and I'm about to post it. Like, I get excited to see what people like, if everyone's gonna like it or if they're gonna get excited with me, and then getting to interact with people in the comment section. So, before I used to just post videos to post them, and then it did shift. I'm still getting to film what I like to film, but I love getting to see the reactions of the people that watch my videos, all the people that are subscribed to my channel. And I think that's probably one of the my like the thing I look forward to. Honestly, like, I love posting a video and then looking at the comments and then being able to talk to people about whatever it is that I did in my video. I really love, just, I guess I love the interaction. I wish that I had more time and energy on my hands, and I've wanted to do this, like, every month, have a week where I just live stream every night, because I love live streaming. I really do. It's exhausting, but I love it so much. And I always say, like, oh, this is gonna be a short live stream. Like, if I could actually do a live stream that was short and limit myself, then I think it'd be something I could do more often. But my live streams, like, fluctuate. They're usually at least 2 hours long because I just get so into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love that interaction with the people, because that's what's built my channel, is that getting to interact with the people who are watching my channel. Again, I'm not a robot. I don't just, like, throw a video out there and then you never hear from me again. It's like, I like getting to talk to people. If I was more secure about what I'm doing, I would love to just do unboxings live. And I have done that before, especially when I run out of time to edit, because editing takes a long time. Um, I would love to just do that. And that actually might be something that I start doing, especially with, like, Pokemon cards. Because, like, filming Pokemon card videos, especially now because I have two cameras, and I don't edit the videos as much. I used to, like, usually with a sub box or a mystery box, if there's, like, an empty space, I'm like, oh, take out that space. But with Pokemon, I'm like, it's too hard with the two videos. And I'm very basic with my editing. I just use iMovie. So it's like, I just kind of let it go all the way through. And anyone who is subscribed to me knows, and this happened today actually, that I always forget to turn off the audio on my second camera. And then they're like, oh, the echo's bad. I have to, make the video private. Let me re-edit it and then repost it, which sucks, but I'm getting better, hopefully, at remembering that. But yeah, I would say just, like, the interaction, like the excitement to get to interact with the people on my channel. The worst thing is editing. The worst thing,
Yeah.
honestly, is editing. And I am so basic. I mean, people ask me, even my godson Jackson was like, I watch a lot of YouTubers and they have all these cool, like, sound effects and animations. And I'm like, well, when you do your own YouTube channel and you start editing your own videos, you let me know how much you want to spend on sound effects and animations. Because for me, I have seen a lot of YouTubers grow, and especially Funko Pop YouTubers, and they have these cool things, and I'm like, that's so cool. But for me, it's like, that's not what I'm about. I like to keep it really simple, because, again, it's just me. I don't have an editor. I don't have any of that stuff, and I have a full-time job. So, for me, it's like, I still want to be able to post videos, but I don't want videos to be held up because I have to spend 5 hours editing them. I want to get it out, and I want to keep filming and keep, putting videos. So I've actually, even though I don't look forward to editing as much right now, I've gotten it down to a T. Like, I can actually edit pretty quickly, but just the thought of, like, I have to sit there. And
Yeah.
then when I process the video, that's going to take time. Then I have to upload the video, and that takes time. And then I have to edit the thumbnail. And I don't even edit thumbnails. All I do is change the size of the thumbnail so that it doesn't give a black bar on the side, because people were complaining about that. But just, like, those things in general, for me, it's like, yeah, like, that's the one thing that I wish that could just happen like magic. And I've had people who are like, I'll edit your videos, but I don't, obviously, my channel doesn't make that much money where I could ever afford to pay anybody to do anything like that. So just something that I keep doing on my own.
Well, I know that the editing, yeah, I mean, it's very tedious. When we've made some videos in the past where we've done collaborations, I've done special effects. Like I filmed my boys and did special effects and added them in. And it's tiresome, you know, and even for them, there's like, really, do we got to go back out and do this? And, you know, hopefully they get it in one shot, but sometimes they don't. But it is, the end result is a lot of fun. But like you said, I mean, I can only really do that like once in a while, because I mean, the editing really does get to you. You try to simplify it. You try to shorten the videos. Sometimes I've done like part one, part two, but for the most part, there we go. She'll be back on. But anyways, the editing is tough. If you guys have any questions for her, you know, let me know. If there's something special that you want to ask. I know with her phone, sometimes she's going off of her phone. So
I am so sorry. I was trying to read the chat and I clicked leave. I am so sorry.
no worries. That's what I told him. Like, don't worry, she'll be back.
My bad. Why did they put the buttons so close to each other?
But no, I took the opportunity. I wanted to see if anybody in the chat had a couple of questions for you as well. So people that are new and just coming on, you know, they want to be able to have the opportunity to subscribe to you. What do we get from your channel? What does Nerdy Noob bring in the community now? Like, you know, how would you describe, you're not a Funko channel entirely. What is your channel about these days?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I have no idea. Even when I was doing Funko Pops, I didn't consider myself a Funko channel, which is weird because most of my videos were Funko Pops. I'm just a channel of a person who, like everyone else, watched a bunch of people on YouTube and was like, oh, that's fun. And so I don't have a good way of marketing myself. Honestly, I'm just a person who likes to collect random things, and I like to show people what those things are, and I like to just talk about life. I think, again, that's one of the things is I'm not some like fancy person. Like I'm just a normal person, and it's fun to connect with people and for people to understand. Like I'm just a normal. I have a full time job. I'm sure I have a job that I have to get up and go to every day. I love my job, but and then I'm a collector. I'm an adult who likes to collect toys. Like my godson Jackson, he points that out. He's like, oh well, he doesn't know how old I am because he gets confused because I have a room that's full of toys, and he's just like, and you know, like, well, you can't be that old because you collect toys. And I'm like, no, yeah, you're right.
Like,
I don't know. I don't know what to say about that.
She's fun. I want to go to her house. I want to play. We do have a question. Umpty Scratch. A lot of people like to give back to. A lot of people like to give back. Do you ever think you would have a Patreon or a membership that you can give viewers back to? Now, I know some people even have like a 99-cent Patreon, anything that can kind of contribute to the channel. Has this something that you thought about doing, or you just, you're like, I'm just not going to do it?
It is. I actually signed up for Patreon because everyone was asking me, and this was when Patreon first started. I just honestly, I have a problem. Like I love that people support me. I love that they watch my videos, but I don't know what it is. I never felt comfortable taking. I mean, there are people like when I do a live stream who donate money to me in the super chat, and I'm so grateful for that. Like I almost feel bad though because I'm like I'm super grateful. My credit card bills, super grateful for it. Like it's nice because for anybody who has a YouTube channel, it's not cheap. It's not, especially for me lately. Like it's kind of blown up a little bit. Like I probably buy too much. I'm buying too much stuff that I don't need to buy. And I appreciate that people are wanting to support me like that. But like for me with Patreon, actually, Patreon memberships, especially back, the past few years when I got really behind on my giveaways and I still wasn't comfortable shipping things, I absolutely didn't want to do anything of that sort unless I knew that I had something to give back to people who are donating money, even if it's only $1. Like I want to know that I'm giving them something for it. I know a lot of people are saying, like, they'll say, oh, just you making videos, but like even for me, if you followed me for the past couple of years, like sometimes that's inconsistent. So I wouldn't want to be like taking money from people. Like, I don't know, I just have a weird thing about taking money from people like that. If I found like, oh, maybe if there's a Patreon and then you're able to enter a giveaway each month or whatever for that, then maybe I would be more adapt to that. And that might be something. I'm almost all cut up with my giveaways, and now I'm learning how to ship things. So I feel a lot more confident about that. And so that
Yeah.
might be something at some point. But I just always been like that, even in general, like with my life. Like I don't like to, and it's not relying on anybody. I think it would be a cool thing. There's a lot of YouTubers who do that. I don't know. There's just something about that I don't know. I just have feelings about it. And I'm not judging anybody else who does that, of course. It's just I just don't I feel like I don't have enough to offer. I guess I don't feel like I have enough to offer people to try to charge any, or not charge anybody, but like let people give me money. There was one time though, and I was super grateful. My camera broke. It was sucky. Like my camera one day just broke. It stopped working, and I did a GoFundMe for to get a new camera. And I remember like I had made a goal like of $1,500 or something, and I was sick that day. I posted it and I was sleeping all day, and I woke up and like I like $2,200 had been donated. And I was so thankful to that. And of course, there was different levels, and people got really big giveaway boxes for that. So I felt okay about it. But yeah, I don't know, like just that consistent thing. I am not quite sure.
Well, there is, tiers. And I mean, you can have a $5, $10. I mean, there are a lot of things that you can look at, the upside, the plus side to it, but at the same time, I know a lot of your fans are like, look, we want to help, we want to be able to do this one. And it kind of gives that connection, like they feel part of your channel, so
Yeah.
I definitely see both sides of it. Definitely. Patreon is interesting. I am a patron to a few of the supporters in the community as well. I'm also on the road to 1K, and I don't know if somewhere down the road I would do a Patreon or not, but a little bit here and there, it does help, but you can turn it around and get back, so but like you said, I enjoy the live streams as well. I enjoy trying to figure out ways to interact with people. um, what would you say, like with people that are new, it's like, okay, like they're coming here for the first time and they're like, you know what, like Nerdy Noob, I want to start my channel tomorrow. Like you're saying, be yourself, have fun. You know, you don't have to open up a ton of Pokemon cards, but just, for the most part, just be you. And that's kind of what I've loved about getting to know you a little bit, is, you're down to earth. You definitely come from a lot of different areas as far as like, sports and the fandoms that you have. So you open up a wide variety. What about like, you come from a big family? Do you have, I know, okay, here's one of the stories that I remember. It was in January. You're going to Hawaii, and you forgot your driver's license was expired, and it's something. And so you had to go to. I guess you had to get everything all in order. So what was that experience like? I mean, did you like you're like freaking out? You're like, well, wait a minute, I got to travel, but my driver's license, I got to take care of that. I was like, like having to go through stuff like that is so stressful.
Oh my gosh, I was so stressed out, and I felt terrible because I that's the first time that I did a trip like that with so many other people, because all of my god kids came, and all of my best friends, and it was a big group of us. And I literally had no idea until the night before that my driver's license was expired. Like, had no idea. I don't even know what happened. I had no idea. And I luckily had I don't know why. I think I was on the verge of trying to get my passport. And so I had like my birth certificate already and my social security. Like I had all that stuff, but I couldn't. I think I went online and renewed it. I don't even remember what happened. I just remember freaking out, and I freaked everyone else out because like I don't even know if I'm gonna be allowed on the plane. I'm so sorry, guys. Like if you guys have to go without me, like that sucks, but it's okay. I don't want to be that one in the group that makes it like hard on people.
Yeah.
It sucked because I was supposed to be one of the people that was gonna drive, and I couldn't because I didn't have a valid driver's license, which ended up being fine, and it was cool because then I could drink more. But still, it was like, oh, like I feel terrible. And it all ended up working out. And again, I stressed out about it, and then I got to the point where I was like, well, it is what it is. Like, what am I gonna do? If they don't let me on the plane, I don't get to go on the plane. If they don't let me into, whatever, I don't get to do that. And I just get over it and I'm fine dealing with it because that was my bad. Like, I'm very much like, I'll take responsibility. Like, clearly I should have known that and it was a sucky time. And it all worked out. It actually, getting on the plane was the easiest thing. I like had all of these things. I think I had my online, I think I was able to renew it online. So I had like the receipt of like, I renewed it, but I have to go in and do the picture thing or whatever. Um, and then, I had my birth certificate. Like, I had all these things and they didn't care. I actually had the hardest time when we tried to go to the Warren and Annabelle Magic Show, which I love. I was so excited to bring all my friends to that because a lot of them hadn't seen it. And they were the ones that gave me the most trouble because they were like, we told you needed a photo ID. And I'm like, a valid photo ID. I'm like, well, I have an expired driver's license and here's all my stuff. And luckily I've gone to that show like 6 times. It's really expensive. And I've like promoted it to people because I love it. It's my favorite. And so they finally let me in. But yeah, it actually ended up being like super okay. But it was so stressful. And of course, right when I got back, I was like, I need to take care of this. I need to go to the DMV right away and get this. And so right when I came back, I went to the DMV and got that taken care of because that was not great.
Yeah. So I know you do from time to time some wine unboxings. So you're a big wine enthusiast. Is there a certain wine that sticks out with you that you've been really on?
Just to be clear, I'm actually not a wine enthusiast. Uh I in general with drinking, I'm not like I don't drink a lot in general. I'm very all or nothing. Like, I either don't really drink at all or I drink a lot.
Uh-huh.
In regards to my wine series was something that I did really early on in my channel. Just like one night I was, I cracked open a bottle of wine. And usually you don't drink alone, right? That's usually frowned upon. But man, when you're filming, it kind of makes it okay because you're like, well, I'm not alone. Like, in theory, at some point there's going to be hundreds of people with me, and so it makes it okay. And so I started the wine series, and no, I'm very non-picky. You can give me a bottle of red wine and I'll make it work because I don't and this might make people sad. I don't drink. I'm not one of those people like, oh, look at all the legs on this wine, or ooh, I can taste the fruity notes. I just taste wine. I just drink it, and then that's all I do. So yeah, I wouldn't say. And wine's actually not my favorite. If I could choose, I really like Bloody Marys. Like, I'm a huge Bloody Mary fan. It's my favorite thing to drink. Or like sangria. I actually like sangria. And that live stream that I did, that killed me. I drank, it wasn't even a full bottle of sangria, but I didn't eat dinner and there was so much sugar. And then I ate more sugar. And that next day I was like, I'm never drinking again. Like, what happened? I don't even know what happened. It's not usually like that, but for that one specifically, I was like, oh man. And then I watched that live stream back, not the whole thing, but some of it. I was like, oh wow, it was just me with like a knife, or me standing on this chair looking at like the Funko Pops at the top because I'm like, oh gosh, this is great. But I have fun doing it, and it's like, it's almost like going out. It's like my way of going out because I actually am a homebody. I don't like going out. That is actually the one thing, I'll be honest, about COVID that I've enjoyed, is the fact that for a really long span of time, like, you weren't even allowed to go out, and or like bars weren't open. And to me, I'm like, yes, like, it was less stress for me because I like just staying at home. And so
Yeah.
sometimes friends would come over and we would hang out, but like, there was no like expectation of me having to go out and meet up with people. Like, I'm not, that's not my preferable thing to do on the weekends or anything like that.
Well, do you have any aspirations to travel? Like, is there places that you want to go to that you've never been? I know you went to Hawaii. Like, is there a country or something that you'd like to say, you know what, me and my friends kind of get together and go? Or you just, you're content with being home?
I am very content with being home. I'm not a huge traveler. Traveling, so like, there's traveling and then there's vacation. I like vacation, like Hawaii, where I just go, I buy my plane ticket, I buy where I'm gonna live, and then I don't really have any plans. I just go, and then you just get to like be there and like, oh, I feel like I'm gonna go do this or I'm gonna go do that. I like that. I'm not a huge traveler because of the stress. I don't like, it's so stressful. Traveling to me is so stressful. And then like, I have friends who like, they'll make an itinerary of like everything. Like, oh, if we gotta go do everything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so much like stuff. And then it almost is more tiring than like if I would have stayed at home. I'm not a huge traveler, but if I could choose, when I eventually do get my passport, um, I definitely want to at some point go to, we were going to do a family trip to China or Hong Kong somewhere. That's where my mom is from. And so that was something on the table. And I'd love to do that with them because I would not feel comfortable going there without them. I don't speak the
Mhm.
language. I just would be, I don't like feeling uncomfortable. Like if I don't know what's going on, I don't really like that. So that's why I probably don't like traveling. But so China or Hong Kong, I would love to go. I always wanted to go to the UK, and it was specifically because I'm a huge Spice Girls fan. So even though I know this wouldn't happen, I'm like, oh, what if I went to England and like I ran into one of the Spice Girls? Like that'd be cool. Which again, I know would never happen, but because I followed them growing up and was like so into the Spice Girls, um, England and the UK was a huge thing. And then potentially the Philippines. Actually,
Huh?
I follow a lot of YouTubers who have gone to the Philippines, and I have a lot. Almost all of my friends are Filipino. It's crazy, and so I'd love to do a trip again, not by myself, but like with my friends' parents. I don't know if you guys know Lola and Lola. Like if they came with us and they knew what was going on, that would be something that I'd be interested. But in general, I'm just traveling has never been anything that I'm like super into.
Okay.
I would only do it if I not if I was forced to do it, but if like somebody else kind of made the plans and I was just kind of tagging along.
Nice. Well, we do have a couple of questions from the chat. Wide World of Gamers wants to know your hobbies outside of collecting. Is there certain things you find yourself enjoying besides collecting?
Um, so I've always been, hold on one second. I'm sorry, my parents are blowing me up. I have always been a TV fanatic. Honestly, before I did YouTube, that I was like super into TV. Like if you guys saw my DVR, it was crazy. I had like probably, you know, you can like do like you can like record a season. I had like over like 70 shows. I that's all I would do is I'd come home from work and I just watch TV. I had like 5 shows a night that would get recorded. So I'm not gonna say I was a TV buff. I just love like there are certain shows that I really like, and I still am that way, just not as much. Like I don't spend as much time watching TV. I like sports. I like watching the Giants, the Niners. I like football in general. I'm not as into the NBA with the Warriors. Like I'll watch them, but I'm just not a huge NBA fan. I've never been to watching basketball as much. I definitely prefer football. So I like that. I like hanging out with my god kids. Whenever I get to see them, that's always fun. Um, I started doing Wine Wednesday with my friends, and so that's been nice to have them come over and we like do potlucks and stuff. Um, I don't, work has always been such a huge part of my life. It takes up most of my time. And so, like video games, I wouldn't say that I like playing, like, I'm not super into video games, but man, when I find a video game that I like, it just gets, I get really, that's why I'm really, really careful about what I get into. Cause I just know how it can be for me that I can just jump head first. Like I'm very all or nothing sometimes, and I can just jump so hard into things. And it just, like, I actually was worried, like snowboarding. I was like, oh, is this one of those things? Like, I'm going to do this like a couple times and then I'm not going to like it. And that actually lasted for years and years and years and years. And I still love it. Same thing with longboarding. Same thing with YouTube. Honestly, I was like, oh, is YouTube going to last for like what, 2 weeks? And then I'm going to be like, oh, I'm over this. And that just kind of has lasted for since 2015, which is crazy. But yeah, I'm kind of a boring person. Like I don't know if I do anything too crazy. I like watching TV and filming things, and that's basically what I do.
Well, you you know what you like, and that's the most important thing is it's important to do the things you like. Um,
Hmm.
so we do have a question from Umpty Scratch. How did the name Nerdy Noob come about? Like when you were making your channel?
I I just talked about this on my auction. When I was first creating the channel, I didn't know what to call it, and I the first name I actually came up with was Steph in Bed, which because I knew I was gonna film with the like I mean half my channel is just me filming on my bed. Then realized that that probably wasn't the best name, and that probably people might get the wrong idea. Um, Nerdy Noob came up because I didn't want anyone to think that I was going to be an expert at anything. I still don't feel like I'm an expert at anything. I know I get a lot of people like come at me all the time like, oh, you think you're the most knowledgeable person about this and you don't even like this. And it's like, no, I like a lot of things. I'm just not like, I'm not an expert at any one thing, because that's just not how I am. Again, when I become an expert, one thing, like I know how hard I dive, so I usually just try to kind of float, and I like what I like, and that's it. Um, but yeah, I came up with Nerdy Noob, but then Noob the real way, which is usually NOOB, was taken by somebody. So I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll just be NEWB. So it's supposed to be like a noob, but spelt differently. And yeah, it was just kind of a, I don't know. That's just how it ended up happening.
So obviously through your journey, you've had a lot of people positive surround you and a lot of good, your followers and stuff. But what about the negative side of things sometimes? Like, I mean, obviously we do get some comments or some dislikes, with, like you had mentioned. How do you handle that? I mean, is it something that just rolls off of you? I mean, do you get some that bother you or?
I learned a while ago, and I don't know when this clicked in my life, that I honestly just don't really care what anybody thinks. Maybe the people that are really close to me, I do, but it again, I'm not doing my channel. I love interacting with people, and there are certain people that I might care what they think because they've been following me for a long time. But like I in my life as well, like people can come up to me and say like you're ugly, and I'm like, oh cool, thanks. Like I really don't take, like I just don't really take things as personal. There might be some things like at work, sometimes I take things personal because I work so hard with certain things. But in regards to the comments that I get, like, oh, I get some nasty comments, and I don't really care. Like I don't know these people, and sometimes like I consider them trolls, and sometimes I like to troll them back. Like, and it's probably not good. Sometimes I'll interact with them just because I think it's funny. It's like, oh, you're gonna put yourself out, like out this, you're gonna put yourself out there like this, like that's how you want people to see you. Like I'm cool with that, like if that's what you want to do. But yeah, I've had friends who read the comments and they're like, oh my gosh, that was so mean. And I'm like, meh, like I don't know who that is, I don't really care. They watched my video, they gave me a view, so at the end of the day, that's okay. Like that's okay with me. um yeah, I don't, it just doesn't. Now there has been a couple people that either like they'll attack me, and it's like, oh, that's rude. And I actually had this thing for a really long time on my channel that I didn't want to block anybody. I didn't block anybody because I was like, hey, if that's how you want, again, if that's how you want to put yourself out there, then that's fine. But when people started to attack other people on my channels, like they would start attacking other people who were commenting, I was like, no, that's too much. And then that's when I started blocking people. It's very rare. I honestly have only blocked like maybe 10 people in the past 5 years. Usually they just end up going away. But yeah, I don't, there've been a couple times where people who I know are invested in my channel, like people that I become close with on a sense of like, they watch all of my videos and they comment, and they, um, they're like in my core group of followers that I know of. Like there's been a couple people who've gone, it has gone like it went on an interesting path, and I got some DMs from them that was like, I think almost like they got overly invested in my channel, and then became upset when I would assume that they felt like they weren't getting what they wanted back. And those ones were rough because it was like, oh man, that sucks. Like these are people that have followed me for years, and like I know them so well just based off of them following me. So those ones were harder. It wasn't necessarily like but it was just like, oh man, I feel bad that they have these types of feelings, and that sucks. And but then at the end of the day, I always come to, hey, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. That's just what it is, and I understand that. And if I'm not, there's a million people out there on YouTube making videos. So it's like when people come to my channel, like, oh, this is stupid. It's like, that's cool. Like I understand. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I know a lot of people just keep watching my videos because of me, but if you don't know who I am and you watch one of my videos, I could see why that might be a turnoff for people. So, I get it.
Well, I think, like I said, you have a great personality. The way your presence when you're doing your live streams. I know that when I had an opportunity, I was like, "Wait, Nerdy Noobs live," and I'm like, "Okay." I went in there, and then that's what I'm saying. Like when you end up interacting with the people in the chats, I mean, it's good to see that. You're not coming across, like I said, where people go like, "Oh, well, it's Nerdy Noob." It's no, I'm Steph. This is what I like doing. I'm showing you guys. So I really appreciate that. I think that's awesome of you. Just seeing the fact that you can do what you want to do. I mean, that's an inspiration to other people that are doing channels, and just be like, remember that.
Hmm.
It's your channel, not anybody else's.
Yeah.
So make it yours.
Yeah.
Um, I really appreciate you taking the time, and I don't want to take up a lot of your time. I know you're very busy with some of the things you do. The one question to finish it off, in a sense, the holidays are right around the corner. Do you have any family traditions, anything that you plan on doing, or anything that you guys, do for the holidays that, some people have some really cool traditions. Some people, haven't seen each other in a while. Like, anything you got planned?
I usually do. It's canceled this year because of COVID, but usually for Christmas, we go over to my parents' house and there's like my extended family comes over. There's usually like 60 plus people that come over and we do hot pot. It's actually what I've done for Christmas my whole life. Other than the past couple of years, I've had some unfortunate situations where, I've had grandparents who have passed away. And so we don't do it that year. But for the most part, and if you follow my vlog channel, you probably have seen what that looks like because I have vlogged it. But yeah, we did cancel it this year because of COVID. So that's kind of sucky. Like that's been a long standing thing, but I get it and it's cool. I'm going to do Vlogmas as I've done for, I don't know when I started Vlogmas, but that's when you vlog like every day in December. I started doing a few years back, started doing advent calendars. So I'm really excited this year. I like to make my own Pokemon advent calendars because I'm not cool enough yet for Pokemon actually makes their own advent calendars, but they only send them to like big channels. So maybe one day I'll get there. But for now, if you watch me last year, I made my own. I got a punchy box from Target where it has like the 12 circles and I put different Pokemon packs and that was one of my daily openings for my vlog channel. So I don't have any big plans. I it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be interesting this year just because of COVID. But I was excited because I thought about it. I was like, I'm going to save a lot of money on gifts because I won't have to buy all
True.
my extended family gifts because no one's going to be there. Although last year I didn't even buy gifts. What we did was, well, we did gift cards and mystery Funko boxes actually. So
Oh,
that was the first time I've ever really connected what I do on my channel with my extended family. But I brought over a bunch of Funko Pops and it was like, okay, pick a box. And then I actually also did mystery gift cards. So we had gift cards and envelopes. And so they got to pick one envelope and one Funko Pop and then to see what they got. So that
that's
was fun
cool.
because that didn't actually cost me that much money. But yeah, this year it's going to be a little bit more quiet, I guess.
Okay. Well, so what's on the horizon for you? Any more whatnot auctions coming up?
Yeah, why not? Auctions are a little bit challenging because I don't know if anyone knows, you don't get just a plan. You have to kind of go through them. So I'm working with one of the guys there, Curtis. He helped me with my first one, and so there's a potential that I might be doing one the weekend of Black Friday. But I actually asked him if I could try to do one or two prior to that. Much smaller than the one that I did before because the one I did before had like 88 items and that took 4 hours. I'd love to get them down to like 1 or 2 hours. So I don't know if he'll let me. I actually one thing I don't know if I'm gonna do it tonight or tomorrow. For anybody who's a Pokemon fan or a Mystery Mini fan, I wanted to do something similar to what I did on the Whatnot auction, which was pack breaks and kind of like mystery openings. And so I'm actually gonna see if I can set it up on my Shopify where I can say, okay, it's almost like the Whatnot app, but not an auction base. So it's like, oh, you pay this much to do 3 packs, and then on my live, I'll do there's a lot of YouTubers doing this, but
Yeah.
I'll do a YouTube live stream where I'll open up your packs and then I'll ship you everything. But a mixture of Pokemon cards and mystery minis because I just found a whole case of the retro toys mystery minis
Uh-huh.
and I was like, well, I could film myself opening them or that would be cool, like I could like maybe do like, oh, you can buy a mystery mini break and then I'll open it live on my live stream. So we'll see what happens. I'm not quite sure. That's something new that I've never done, so we'll see if that plays out.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day and your weekend and just being here just to kind of spend a little bit of time and get to know you a little bit. Like I said, we do some unboxings and sometimes we have live streams but you don't get an actual opportunity to like get to know the person. And so you know a little bit more, and that's kind of what I wanted to do, is just kind of have a little sit down with Nerdy Noob, go through a couple of questions with Steph, see if there was anybody in the chat that wanted to ask a few questions. anything that you wanted to throw out there, for people to know, and just kind of go from there. Like I said, I know, seeing you and your videos with your cats and everything, and how much fun you guys you have on your live streams. I really wanted to have the opportunity to connect, and being Bay Area representative as well. So thank you so much, Steph, for doing this for me and taking the time. And if anybody has not had the opportunity, please go over, subscribe. Like I said, it is the road to 100K. It's like she's done some amazing things, been around since 2015. So always basically being innovative and changing things up and adapting. And so definitely appreciate it a great deal. So yeah. So anything else that you want to throw out there?
No, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I don't do interviews very often. I've done one, honestly, I've done one interview like this. And I think after we did it, the guy found out that his audio was all messed up. So that kind of sucked. But it's fun to be on with somebody else because I don't do this often at all. And I appreciate you taking the time, and even, wanting me to be on here. So thank you so
Well,
much.
when I reached out to you, and I was like, okay, and it's hard because sometimes you don't get the Instagram messages, and then sometimes it's like you're like, okay, well, comment on my YouTube, and trying to have that connection of being able to be like, okay, and then when you respond and say, I think I can do something on November 7th, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to be available. I'm going to make sure that I do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people here in this chat. You're one of the first channels that people watched, that spark plugged, their ability to go in and do what they want to do and have fun with it. So I think that's what, we get to see today, is just that personal side of you, Steph is, she loves her sports, she'll drink her wine. She hangs out with her friends. She likes being at home. She loves her Pokemon, very knowledgeable. She's got, her cats. So, I mean, it's great to see that. Once again, I appreciate it. I'm just going to go ahead and close it out with my little introduction that I made for you. So, people that weren't here earlier, I just do this for the people that are going to come on. This is going to be a normal thing, and I'm going to try to do, line up some people and just have, occasional sit down and talk and get to know. But once again, we have Steph, Nerdy Noob. And so thanks again, everybody. I appreciate you guys being here. And like I said, if next week we're going to do the same thing. We got somebody lined up. And if there's other people that you'd like to see, or if you'd like to come on and kind of have a little discussion, let me know. But this is Eric, Two Boys and Their Pops. You got Steph, Nerdy Noob. We're out. So have a good one, guys.
Thank you.